So I have my 3 layers. We have the block, we have plastic on the block to protect it. We've got an iron, which is just a little travel iron. This is just really for millinery. I don't use this for anything else. Just buy this for millinery. Put it up to the hottest heat. Don't put any water in it because the water actually comes from the cotton cloth that I mentioned earlier, and I wet this. So I put this under the sink and I wring it out so it's not dripping everywhere, but it's just nice and damp. I'm going to put the cinnamon on with the bias, so the straight grain is running that way and that way, so we know the bias is running down that way. Putting that on, I'm going to get my wet cloth, put this on top. This is instead of using steamers and then wet cloth on top. Hear that sizzle? That means this is hot enough and this is wet enough. It's going to go over the whole thing once. See the steam? Be careful with this. Disclaimer, I am not going to take any responsibility if you're burning yourself, so be careful with this iron. Don't let it touch you at all. It's going onto the wet cloth, it's not going onto anything dry. It's not touching the cinnamon, it's just over the wet cloth. So this then steams it. Put that down safely, take that cloth. You see this is much more pliable now, and then I could actually pull it either side here and put some blocking pins in. On that side, on that side, another one because they tend to fly out. You can use dressmaking pins, which is the old way of doing it, and some people still keep to that. When I worked in Stephen Jones, we always use dressmaking pins, but these just protect your fingers a little bit. They don't hurt as much as the other ones. So that's, I pulled both sides there. Now the bias is here and here. So the straight grain's running that way and that way. So I have a bias point here, here, here and here. So I hold that towards you. I have bias here, here, here and here. So I'm going to pull the sides first, then I'm going to pull the front and the back. Wet cloth again. I love that sizzle sound. But I'm going to pull my front and back. Just stretch that. And pin that down. You don't really want to let go because then it all just flies back again. So you're having to pull and hold it in place and then put your pins in. So there, my front and back and my 2 sides. And then we have to think about the corners. Now with the corners, you don't want to put a dart in like you would with dressmaking. You want to get rid of it all completely. So with millinery, it's about pulling it out and pulling it into the bias to get rid of it, instead of folding it and pleating it like you would with the top. So with this, we have this section here. We're going to pull half of this over to here and half of this over to here. If I just draw this with a piece of chalk, this is our front and our back. This is our side going across to our other side, and this is our corner. So if I just put a little line there as well, then you can see that half of this has to go into here and half of this has to go into this side. So I just steamed that section. Pull down there, and we pull down here, and then we pull this into this section. So I pull down here, and then I'm pulling this into it, so that way. You can see that's becoming flatter there. Now if I just pulled it all the way across, you see I get a kink up here. So I don't want to do that. I want to pull down there and pull into it. Hold it in place, get your pins and put that in. Now we've got a little crease under here, so we just have to figure out where that is, which one it is. Make sure we pull those creases out, we don't want those. And then we're going to pull this into this. So this little corner here we're going to pull into the front. Steam it again. So using this way of steaming, you really can get into each individual section instead of lifting it up all the time. I'm going to pull down here and this into it. And at this stage, oops, I can then put an elastic band around the whole piece. Just be careful it doesn't ping up into your face. There, so it's good there. Here, we know roughly that everything above the elastic band we want to get nice and flat. Anything underneath the elastic band can be mess. So we're going to carry on now. We've got this corner is complete. Then we do the opposite corner. So you always do the opposite to what you've just done. So I've done that side, then I'll do the opposite side. Then I'll do this side, then I'll do this side. So this is the side we want to concentrate on now. And again, we want to divide it up. So we want to put that section into there and that section into there. Okay, so now we've blocked it, we need to stiffen it, just to make sure it's nice for when we take it off. So for that, we want some Cinemate stiffener. In the older days I would use more of a smellier toxic glue, but now that's becoming banned, so that you can still get it, I think, but a lot of the companies are using this now instead. This one from Parkin Fabric, so I use that company a lot. And with this one you want to put 1 part this, 4 part water. So that's the stiffener we're going to use. I use a little teacup and a brush. So this brush is always just going to stay with this. It's going to just be used for this. So we want to load the brush up, take some of the excess off, and then start rubbing it onto the hat in a circular motion. So we're going round and round and round and round and pushing it in. So it goes into the 3 grains. So circular motion there, and we want to take off the excess, and then we want to work our way around the whole of the hat. Okay, so now that's done, we need to leave that to dry. So it'd be good to leave that to dry overnight. If you need to do it in a rush, then you can get a dry cloth, put that over and get your iron and actually iron it all to become dry. Put that over and then dry it. Just keep checking that it's not sticking. And keep your iron moving and just work that around until you feel that it's nice and hard and dry. It's best to leave it overnight, and if you can leave it somewhere warm near a radiator, then that's even better, just to sort of cook it a little bit and keep it nice and, you know, it makes it better, it makes it a little bit hard. Okay, so we've dried all of that, made sure it's okay. Now I'm going to take my blocking pins out, I've taken most of them out, and then we're going to take off the elastic. We've got a nice piece here. Then we're going to actually get some chalk and just draw the shape that you want. So maybe you've worked out from your designing sketches what sort of shape you want. You can have it with a pointy, or we could have it with the 1940s, or we could have a eye drop shape or a kidney shape. So if I just draw a line across the middle there, that just shows that you could have two sides if you want to. Or you could use the whole thing, so we can go all the way around. Or you could come in here, come in and out and around the back, so you've got more of a kidney shape. Or we could go right across the top and draw a shape there, bit of a bridle piece, whichever you like. You just don't want to have too many wiggles and too many points, because that's going to be hard to get your wire around. But this is a fun stage, that's why I like these blocks, because you can actually cut your own shape. These days a lot of the hats are being made on these button blocks, which are lovely, but you can only do that, so you can't then cut your own shape from this. So these are great for it. So I'm going to cut a shape which I think is going to be half here, then I'm going to make a point here, come around, and then at the back just make another point here, a bit like my hat with the twigs on. So point at the back, out here, in, and a bit of a point at the front, and then we can take the rest off. Then to get your piece off of the block, if it's stuck on there, you want to use the palms of your hands, put that down here, and then push with your fingers down and lift up. So you hear that sizzle? It's coming away from the plastic. If I didn't have that plastic on, then it would have stuck to the wood and you wouldn't be able to get it off. So palms of your hands here, then with your fingers on the top, you push down with your fingers and up with your palms. And that releases it, and then you can pull it off. So then we've got a lovely shape here that you can see, all done. And then we need to cut. I'm going to use my Cinnamade scissors. And first of all, I'm just going to cut down the middle. And then we'll see what shape we get.